Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second day of games here in the GGvision Liquid Colosseum, featuring our pro gamer Gladiator of the week, Liquid HayprO, here spawning as the blue Zerg in the 2 o'clock-ish starting position of Shattered Temple. His opponent and challenger in the arena today is Joey, the red Protoss player here at the 9 o'clock position, who is hailing from Denmark and was recently part of the SK Gaming European division that was recently disbanded for whatever reason, along with GGvision and others as well. He was part of that division, and he is a very accomplished European player, having won many silver, gold and bronze medals in the ongoing weekly cups, and he did well in the ESL Viking Cup, while that was still around, as well as at the Copenhagen Games earlier this year. He is an accomplished challenger to Liquid HayprO's reign in the GGvision Colosseum, and no doubt we will be given a very interesting game. All these casts throughout this week with Liquid HayprO as the Gladiator has of course been given to GGvision.tv exclusively from Team Liquid Pro. These have not been seen or casted anywhere else. You're watching unique material, ladies and gentlemen, and it has been selected based on its inherent epicness and nothing else. These replays will showcase HayprO and at what he does best. However, that does not necessarily mean that he will always win these games, but it will mean that he will fight well and bring awesome entertainment to you. And here we see a spawning pool being placed momentarily, I'm sure. Maybe there we see the gas as well. He will harvest 100 gas and then retract his drones back to minerals, most probably. That is the standard way to get the quick Zergling speed, so you can be defensive against any early harass shenanigans, or indeed, as we see here, probes trying to block the future hatchery that will be placed here. So quick speed, most probably coming out of that spawning pool very soon. Meanwhile, we'll see a gateway being placed here, and gas as well for Joey. A cybernetics core soon to follow, no doubt. So yes, you're watching good stuff because it has been selected by the very best from the very best. Proceeding here with this game, cybernetics core now being placed, and we see a scouting drone going out. Rather than trying to chase away this probe, this drone will see if there are any forward pylons or other proxy shenanigans going on. He might even wanting to place a ninja hatchery down here in the south. That would be quite unorthodox and ballsy, but it seems like he is simply out for scouting. Now we see 4 Zerglings on the way, and HayprO seems to be saving up a lot of money, so we'll most probably see a hatchery go down as soon as this probe has been whisked away from the surface of this future Zerg base. Meanwhile, we see warp gate upgrade going down here over at Joey's base, and now the hatchery is being planted, and a cell at first. Speed is now on the way, and soon we will see the tech patterns of the players develop. HayprO now has the scouting drone inside Joey's base. He sees the second gas, which is very interesting. Will this result in a lot of early sentries or heavy stalker blink play perhaps? It's clearly not the most economy-centered build, since it's gone for an early gas and no nexus yet. So this tells HayprO a lot of information, and Joey definitely want to get all of these Zerg units out of his base pronto so that he can plant his various tech buildings. But HayprO is now positioning Zerglings here, or at the very least one Zergling, and will know whenever Joey moves out to take his expansion. Seems like Joey is indeed quite intent on getting many early sentries out to build up that energy to use for force fields at a later time, and his timing push is completed whenever he chooses to launch his first attack. Meanwhile, over here in HayprO land, we see nothing but drones, really. Still, though, and now a roach warren being planted. Still, Joey is ahead in harvesters. That is, of course, the prerogative of the Protoss player. They can chrono boost out probes from their first nexus, and in the beginning, even though Zergs have the inject larva ability, they often get ahead. But now we see things changing here. HayprO quickly surpassing Joey in harvester count, and we can expect that to only continue. And here we see now Joey having planted his nexus, and HayprO should be well aware of that. Of course, that means that he knows that even though the aggression will be coming soon, it won't be coming just now. Joey has invested in an expansion and won't be putting on extremely early pressure, but already 5 sentries out. Joey clearly wants those force fields. Of course, force fields we've seen that truly can decimate a superior Zerg army, can truly put them into a funnel and a corridor of death. And here we see him expending 2 force fields. That was perhaps a bit wasteful. 1 gateway going down, and interestingly, hallucination being upgraded already. We've seen hallucination being used much, and robotics ability to follow that. And of course we already have 2 gateways, so this is a 4-gate robo with a nexus thrown into the mix before that. Looking like an interesting timing push emerging here from Joey's side. But hallucination has been used very aggressively lately by many Protoss players. And here we see triple gas and fortifications in the shape of spine crawlers taking place at HayprO's home base. And Roach is now being built, but no upgrades yet. Here we see a lair now being constructed and roaches entering the fray. Meanwhile, we have Zerglings positioned over here. They might want to embark upon taking down the destructible rocks over here and create an opened back alley route into Joey's base complex. We'll just have to see. But hallucination, it can be used very effectively, not just to create fake scouting phoenixes. Here, roaches are breaking down the destructible rock. Seems like HayprO wants to take its third expansion at this safe and cushy place down here at the lower right. Meanwhile, he is breaking down the rocks of Joey as well. But maybe Joey will be using hallucination to create fake void rays, perhaps trying to fool HayprO into going too many corruptors. We've seen many Zerg players, such as Idra, falling for that trick more than once in a quite memorable game from, I believe it was the IGN Pro League, the IPL. Let's see if that happens, and if so, if HayprO can be fooled. Now Joey breaking down his own rocks while HayprO is doing the same up here in the north. This could be very good for HayprO since Joey is doing half the work for him. We'll just have to see if this back alley route comes into play. Meanwhile, we see further spine crawlers being erected, and the spire being constructed as well as evolution chamber for HayprO. Taking a quick look at the units tab, we see an overseer cocoon and 48 versus 46, so fairly even in harvesters. 10 Zerglings, 4 roaches only as of yet, 7 sentries, that's quite a lot, and 9 stalkers. 1 observer out, and that's dangerously close to that first overseer. This could definitely get sniped quite easily. Seems, however, like HayprO is currently up in Joey's business. This is an entirely unprotected probe line. Joey's forces have already moved out, hoping that he would find a fresh Zerg expansion at the high-yield mineral deposit here in the east. But instead he found nothing, and he left his base completely open. These Zerglings have already killed so many probes, disrupted so much mining, and you can follow what happens at HayprO's front through the picture-in-picture window, but not much as of yet. It seems like these Zerglings have caused so much uproar, having killed 4 workers but disrupted mining heavily. Meanwhile, Joey seems indecisive. He should either retreat and take care of this threat. Now it seems to have been stopped. Or he should attack. But attacking into this is not a good idea. Look at all these roaches as well as spine crawlers. Now killing 1 overlord, that's always good, but 5 spine crawlers, a bunch of roaches and Zerglings on creep with queens who could transfuse if need be. Meanwhile, HayprO has taken this base and will saturate it shortly. Joey should not attack into this, but he should not be standing here either, because here are the Mutalisks. Now we see Immortals and Robotics Bay on the way for Joey, and now killing that observer as the Overseer popped, and this will prompt Joey to do something, I should expect. Twilight Council Forge going down immediately. These Mutalisks could cause so much hurt, and now Joey is indeed retreating. But as I see it, he should have done something about this earlier. Just standing outside of HayprO's base will do nothing. There was too strong of a fortification, and the map control was not really genuine. These Mutalisks now have free reign, and Joey has to just retreat in order to try to stop it, but he doesn't have blink yet. His stalkers are completely immobile and his units all out of position. Look at all the probes dying. This is glorious to behold if you're a member of the Swarm, but painful if you're a member of Ire Society. HayprO is simply obliterating the economy and the entire game plan of Joey. These Mutalisks continue to cause uproar. Blink now being upgraded, Thermalands on the way, weapons level 1, but it's too little too late. Joey seems to have, and as he puts it here, Mutas is not Imba. HayprO says okay, beautifully put, but HayprO definitely knew when to defend and when to attack, and simply when to use the perhaps indecisive decision making, so to speak, of Joey to the utmost advantage. The Mutalisk tech switch was a stroke of genius. Meanwhile, HayprO has completely saturated his second expansion, and this is simply unattackable at this stage in the game. Going ahead with getting his roach upgrades, and surely we'll be seeing an infestor pit on the lair fairly soon. Hydralisk then actually going down. That will always be good to have against any stalker heavy armies or void ray compositions that might arrive earlier. First Colossi is now out, however, and Jimmy has replenished some of the lost probes, but just look at this, 42 workers killed by Liquid HayprO, none from Joey. That is a slaughter. Joey will have to fight hard to get back at this game, but it's far from over yet. Meanwhile, we see Tunneling Claws on the way for HayprO, and Templar Archives on the way for Joey. So what will happen next? I don't know, but Banelings would be a nice addition, especially if we could just roll them in through this back alley here, well, when Joey is preoccupied elsewhere. Looking now here at the burrowed roaches. As soon as the Tunneling Claws upgrade finish, these can move, and this will give HayprO the ability to do surprise attacks that will be very, very deadly. Meanwhile, we see here many upgrades going on all over the place. HayprO truly strengthening his position. Infestation pit now going down. We've been seeing very aggressive and effective infestor usage in this matchup lately. Infestors no longer being used merely as a supportive unit to the overall unit composition, but as an attacking unit in and by itself. This Mutalisk should move out. HayprO can afford to lose a few, but he shouldn't waste them away either. And seems like the Mutalisk threat has been averted for now. These Zerglings remain a threat though, and Joey, he simply cannot dare to expand. Seems like HayprO is gearing up to take this high yield, yes indeed. And Hydralisk can now join the fray. Pathogen Glands as well as Psystorm on the way. Double Archons. Archons, very powerful unit in this matchup. We've seen that time and time and again. 5 Mutalisks, 25 Deadly Roaches and 15 Hydralisk. That is quite menacing. And we see Psystorm being chrono boosted out, and we might be seeing Dark Templars arrive at some point as well. Further Colossi being constructed, and now we see what I was talking about, HayprO unburrowing in the midst of it all. However, this is quite a powerful Protoss Death Ball, and a surprise attack is always good to have. Might be able to snipe this Colossi, come on, snipe it, snipe it. Actually, he does not manage to snipe it. Joey's control is just too good, and that Guardian Shield should diminish a lot of the damage. Apparently he doesn't have an observer right now, and I'm sure he is cursing himself for it. But HayprO should retreat his units, because soon there will be an observer on the field, and he does not want to lose these many roaches. This is still a deadly Protoss force, and HayprO should wait until he has a thicker unit composition. He is maxed, however, but not yet in the optimal position when he can strike a Protoss player head on. But as we've seen before, lately, and particularly last game from HayprO, beautiful infestor usage can really turn the tide of any battle. And look at the beautiful creep spread and how he extends his reach here with these spine crawlers. They were used earlier for defense, now he'll use them for offensive measures here. And the Mutalisks continue to be annoying. We see further upgrades going down for both players, now Hive as well as Flyer attacks for HayprO, losing a couple of Mutalisks there. Again, these Zerglings are up here, burrowing one to prevent the Nexus from being planted, and here we see the Banelings. These could definitely prove very deadly. Joey should anticipate something like this and truly make sure he has a presence up here in the north, because even though he's got a nice SimCity, Banelings can roll through here and kill so many probes. Seems, however, like he's moving out, and we'll just have to see if those infestors can turn the tide of battle. If he can infest these colossi and perhaps the immortal, that could definitely prove very, very deadly. And as you can see in the picture-in-picture window, those banelings are now rolling. But in the main battle here, we see now how Joey is launching an attack onto the fresh high-yield expansion, but fungal growth is going down, and Scythe Storms. This is a very beautiful concave. These stalkers are quite protected, but on the other hand, the colossi are exposed. There's no stalker protection, and the burrows completely circumvents the defensive force fields. The roaches are all up, and the hydras have the ability to shoot across this chasm, and the forces of Joey are obliterated. Infestors simply providing fungal growth coverage, and that was enough. The high yield expansion stands, and looking quickly at the units tab, we see 31 roaches still standing and not very much at all. 10 stalkers of Joey remaining, and as you saw in the picture-in-picture window, so many probes were killed. Indeed, 64 workers now up. Those banelings truly were the worth in goo. Now we see HayprO launching the counter-attack, and these roaches, they are now 1-2 upgraded, and I don't think that Joey stands much of a chance, and he even brought an Overseer along to provide anti-DT detection, and Joey thereby leaves the game without saying GG. That is how you stomp a Danish man, ladies and gentlemen, and from my Swedish heart I must say it always feels good to see that happen. I hope you enjoyed this cast. This was day 2 of the GGvision Liquid Colosseum with HayprO as our Gladiator. Stay tuned for day 3 coming up very soon, tomorrow. GG and out.
Adjutant online. Building registry.